Hey everybody, we're back, still alive. You probably thought we were dead, but guess what?
I
We're
mean,
alive
let's
and
hope
well.
not. It wasn't that long. I mean, I guess this last 2 months have been really, yeah. June and July were interesting.
Well, we just like didn't plan our stuff to coincide. So you
Yeah,
were it's like you were off 1 week, I was off 1 week, then I was off two
yeah,
weeks, you were off 2 weeks. Yeah.
yeah. It was definitely a. That's okay. It slowed down just a little bit. I mean, we got one more. We got Knowledge Fest in August, but other than that, it's like, and then we got SEMA. I think that's it. I think
That's
that's it.
November, October.
That's the end of October, the first week in November.
Hmm.
So we're gonna do SEMA with Rockford as of right now, according to them. So, uh, and then we're gonna be doing what's up, uh, and then we're gonna be doing Knowledge Fest with Focal Moscone Gladen again.
In
So in
Texas.
Texas, yeah.
I'll have to make an
So
appearance.
hopefully we'll be able. So Thursday, the 24th, we're gonna have an open house at Jay's Tent in Dallas.
Yeah.
So from like noon till whenever, we're gonna have like Andy Waymeier's gonna be there with their Volvo. Brian's gonna be there with his truck. Jeff Smith's gonna be there. Oscar's gonna be there with his car. Of course, he works there. They're gonna have several customer cars there. They're gonna have food and drink and all that other fun stuff. So it's like a huge open house that we're doing. That's open to anybody that can come to Dallas on the 24th, which is a Thursday in August. So we're pretty excited about that. We did it last year, but we didn't. We kind of did like you guys did with the whole like don't tell nobody.
Yeah, because
You
you don't
know?
know how many people are going to
Yeah.
be
It's
showing
so a
up.
bunch of industry guys showed up, which was really cool. And then yeah, we didn't. So the Natasha interview, Bobby, never happened because Natasha didn't get to come to Vegas because their daughter was ill at the time.
Ah, bummer.
So she couldn't make it. So if she comes to Vegas next year, then we'll get the interview. If not, we'll try to get the interview at Master Tech Expo because those are really the only two events that we get to see them at. And even though we got to see her a couple weeks ago, last month, I don't even remember when we were out there. Anyways, but we just had time for breakfast, so that was it.
Yeah.
So
That's
which was
how it
really
goes
cool.
sometimes.
Yeah, that was a busy day. Breakfast with Morel, lunch with Rockford, and dinner with Mobile Solutions. So it was like, yeah, and that's literally how it went. I mean, we went to some little in town boutique breakfast place, and then we went to what's that crappy bougie not teenager Mexican restaurant,
Uh,
fast food. Um,
oh, like Chipotle?
Chipotle, thank you.
Yeah.
We went to
Okay.
Chipotle. Sorry. And then we went. Brian got us pizza at it was like crazy, but that seems like honestly that seems like a year ago. I
You've lived
mean,
a whole life since then.
yeah, it's been crazy. I mean, it, it, so for those of you who've been on a cruise before, because I admit I'm the last guy to go on a cruise. Like I'm the last. This was my first and only cruise I've ever been on.
I thought you were
And
going to say first and last.
no. I had a great time. I had a great time. I walked. So it was funny because I was laughing because like this trip was next level crazy. I mean, and I'm probably talking about it for the next month and a half. So pardon. I'm just gonna apologize now, but it was one of those things where it's like so much stuff happened. It was like Haley and Sue and her friend Amy all planned this amazing trip for us. Like we were in Seattle for days, we were in Vancouver for days, then we went on the ship, then we were back in Vancouver, then we were back in Seattle. It was like 4 hotel rooms, the ship, a plane, a train, a helicopter, um, 2 boats other than the ship, dog sled, uh, like subway, everything but a motorcycle. I felt like we were on, and we walked, dude. We walked so much, like it was insanity how much walking we did with how much transportation we got to take.
Yeah.
Like I mean, there was day like when we were, I think both Seattle and Vancouver, I was walking 10 miles a day. And
Wow.
then I averaged about 50 flights of stairs, and like it was insanity. It was just crazy. I got to go hiking twice. And in both times it was just like just one we went like this. That was just nuts. And Haley's like, I'll go with you. And I was like, Are you sure? She's like, yeah. She bitched the whole way. The whole way. Like not part of the way. The
Yeah.
whole if she wanted to go a harder way, I was like, no, let's not go that way because that looks deadly. We're just gonna go this way where there's a nice trail. And
Right.
yeah. So yep, Dean visited the Pacific Northwest. Yeah. So I enjoyed the cruise a lot. Apparently I will do cruises again. I had a great time. But the one takeaway that I guess would be relevant for this show, so we don't have to go too deep into it, is two things. One, the lack of communication with the outside world is equally great and disturbing
Yeah.
because you're used to your forms of communication with the world and they're gone. They're gone. They don't exist. Like we bought internet, but we bought the only we do Snapchat. Like Haley and I have been doing Snapchat since she started college. So like
Yeah.
we can kind of I know how long she's been in college. And so we've had this streak going for years. And so the thought of going on a cruise and losing it for a cruise is like can't happen. So we bought enough internet so that we could all keep our snaps going with all our friends. But we knew that was gonna because you're doing a picture, that was gonna take up a lot of internet. But like I mean, there's no Facebook, there's no Instagram, there's no phone calls, there's no nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like shit.
We bought the best internet when we went, and it still sucks, and it still doesn't work sometimes.
No, I mean, it was like that was the only literally Haley would be like, it's time to Snapchat. She'd open up the phone, she'd log in, you take a picture, and then she'd immediately log out. And I was like, what the fuck? She's like, yeah, man. You gotta be selective here. I was like, okay.
Well, Haley ended up being the main way that I seen your vacation unfold because every time you guys did get internet service, of course you were posting here and there, but she was posting consistently. So I was trying to following the journey. Every time you got internet, she'd do a quick post.
She was way better at it than I was. Because there again, I just fell out. I was like, it was almost depressing because I was like, man, so I was like, well, if I can't do what I normally do, then I'm just not going to do anything. So I posted a couple pictures, and then we went live once when we were walking through the mountains.
Yeah.
Which was one of our hikes. And that was the good part about that was a very safe part. And then after we after we disconnected, then it became very dangerous part.
Sketchy.
So, yeah, because like we thought we could walk up or hike up, and then there was a trail to get down, and we were wrong. So it was sketchy as hell getting up to where we were, and then it was beautiful. Then we had to go turn around, and it was beautiful, and then it was sketchy as hell. And going down was even more sketchy. I mean, we're talking like everyone's hiked before. This is like ice road trucker type shit. I mean, it was just like, this is not, and and I'm just laughing because I mean, we're at least trying. And Haley had on boots. I had on my normal shoes, which were good. But there's people doing this shit in flip flops, and I'm like, and this is how people get hurt on their vacations.
Oh, dude, we were at the rockiest lake ever, and I was thinking to myself, like, I would pay anything right now to have some Dean sock shoes. Because I actually had Tevas. No, I didn't. I had that's why I had Chaco flip flops, and I was like, this is not like I'm gonna roll an ankle. 100% gonna roll.
Oh yeah. No, and trust me, my shoes are not good for that either.
Really?
Oh no. Oh, they're not. Oh no, trust me. Because there's no bottom to them. So I mean, if you're on a sandy beach, that might be cool. But rocky trails, no, they're not made for rocks. God, trust me, man. Because when that rock hits you right in the center, you're on a rock, man. It's like, if your toe gets caught. I mean, they are definitely. Yes, I do hike in toe shoes. Yeah, I did hike in the toe shoes. I had to bring boots for the dog sled because we took a helicopter up to the glacier, and then they had a camp up there, and which was funny because they like you have to wear boots, but then they give you boots to put over your boots.
Yeah.
And I was like, why did I have to wear these again? So as soon as we got off of that, the airport for the helicopter was right next to the boat, so we were gonna walk into town, and I said, "All right, well, give me a minute. I need to go back onto the boat, change my shoes because I can't wear these any longer than this amount of time because it was driving me crazy." So, it's honestly, it's really not comfortable to wear normal shoes. Yeah, no, it's just what it is, and they're nice shoes too. They're actually shoes designed for people that wear toe shoes. They have a wider toe box,
right?
And Vibram, the company that makes the toe shoes, actually makes the soles for these. So it's like it's all good, but still, it's just
Dude, I've fallen so deep into shoe culture with boots. There's a channel called Rose Anvil, and he's done a lot of the Vibram, all the barefoot boots, the barefoot shoes, and I've just been watching the whole back catalog. I'm in now.
These things are called topos.
Topos,
and Topos makes a really nice set of boots. But I didn't get they make trail running shoes is really what they're known for, or regular running shoes. But then they have all these boots that they make, and they make normal shoe height boots, so they have no ankle protection. They're just boots but shoes. So I was like, that's me.
Yeah.
So I got those, but they still suck. Yeah, but what I was getting at, without communication to the outside world, it was just, it's weird because, for those of you who've been on cruises before, there's like thousands of people, okay, but they're all in their own little bubble. They're all in their own little world, and like we did as much interacting as we can. Like I can't tell you how many trivia things we played, how many, what do you know this game, common sense things, and learning to draw, which I already know, coloring, exploring the boat, trips. Like we did all that shit. I mean, every day it was like, what are we doing today? Oh, we got 90s trivia at 2. We got this trivia. It's like Haley was on a mission because when you win trivia on a Disney boat, they give you a medal. And they've never gotten a medal before. So when they bring me, they're like, I was under that. They're like, you're going to win. You're going to win for us. And so I was their ringer, and it was, dude, like the first time we won, everyone was like, yeah. I was like,
no pressure, huh?
Yeah, no pressure. That's the Book of Dean. Yeah. Yeah. But so the hard part was not talking car audio for 2 weeks and like talking normal people talk.
Yeah.
That's fucking hard.
Talking about the weather. Like,
just talk about it like shit. It's like, it's like, and I know all these people, so they've heard all my stories. So it's like, God, this sucks.
You guys didn't make cruise friends?
No. So so the people we were with, really good friends of ours, she had made friends with somebody because there's a whole Facebook page for all this crap. All these guys are nuts. Yeah. And so when we were
one right sitting in the living room.
Yeah. So when we were in Seattle, we went out to dinner with these. Oh, I'm sorry. When we were out in Vancouver, we went to dinner with these people because they were getting on the same cruise we were. Turns out they were crazy. Because they were really weird, and like I'm just sitting there eating, like I don't know, I got nothing in this, bro. And it was sounds like a bad time. Yeah, no, it was an awesome time. Fuck. I'm still waiting to see how much this finally cost me, but I'm not even gonna look.
Don't look now.
It was retarded. I mean, I can't say that, but it was bad.
Yeah.
Because I'm just sitting there, and with the stuff we were doing, I'm like, I don't even want to know how much this is costing me. Like, because I mean, dude, we took a helicopter up to ride the back of dogs. And I'm like, how is this even a thing? Like, okay. Sounds cool.
You've ruined it, though. You went on what people say is the best cruise, the Alaskan cruise.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and it was.
So other cruises aren't going to be as cool.
No, not at all. Not at all. Because, I mean, I was like, listen, if we're going to do this, I have to have a balcony room because I want my first cruise to be awesome. So I want to be able to walk out on the balcony, put my hands on the rail, and watch the water and the mountains go by and all this other crap. And, dude, the weather was so beautifully cold. So we just kept our door open the whole time and just like just this wind coming in.
That's good, man.
Oh, dude, if you're out in the hallway and you walk past our room, all you heard was,
oh, dude, it'll shut them doors fast, like them cruise door.
oh yeah,
We've had, because we had ours up. We had a balcony.
yeah.
When we booked it, that lady's like, "You're never gonna want to go in the inside cabin room again once you do."
Oh no, I
Being
could
your
not
first
imagine
trip.
what that would be like.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
we had it open, but it was hot air. But dude, it is so stuffy.
Yeah.
Because the air conditioner doesn't work very good, and it's just I know the feeling. Except you had nice air.
Yeah, no, we had beautiful air. Going to the beach now. Yeah, I can't do beach. I don't want to do a beach. But not being able to talk car audio with people was just like, it was really weird, man. Like, I did learn a couple things though, because after the fact, I realized there's no one here that's going to ask me a car audio question, which is fine. Then I should start paying attention to everything else around me, because that's what I do. I just start cataloging information. And like, things that I learned was, for one, other than you guys, nobody gives a shit about car audio.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the average person, this means nothing to them, which explains why after doing 10 years of YouTube, you only have, 200,000 plus subscribers or whatever the hell it is, because
we're a
pinprick.
We're 100% of the population.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, I'm sure there was somebody on the boat would love to have talked car audio, but like the chances of me finding them were minuscule. So it was, Dean sitting down in the chair on the side of the boat, reading his comic book that he brought with him just in case. It was me watching old guys taking pictures with their phones and going, Canon, Nikon, and Sony are getting it all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They're totally getting it wrong. They're building the wrong cameras. I brought my new R6 Mark II. So I took the R6 Mark II. Fernando took the R8. He took all the R lenses, and I took all my L lenses that I have for the regular, and I have a converter, so that we could play with them while we're on vacation. And he went crazy on his end and just shot a ton of shit. And I, of course, was a little more conservative, but was playing with it and figured out how to work it. And it's always funny when you have a camera that has a big white lens on it, you become the most interesting guy in the room.
Yeah.
Because there's so much side eye going down. It's not even funny.
Is this guy a pro?
Yeah. What do you got with that?
Yeah.
But a guy. I've never heard a kicker. I was stumped. No, dude, trust me.
That's weird. That's actually is weird. I mean, I think even the average people, but you would think even someone that's just like, they would have to not be in audio at all.
But there's a ton of people that don't know what kicker is.
Yeah, no, there is.
Yeah, I mean,
weird to me though.
They're just not. It's
yeah.
Listen, if you're not into it, you're not into it. If you say someone, hey, have you ever heard of Canon? And they might be like the things that you put in a fort and go boom. Like I'm out with Haley. So we go play games with some of Haley's friends, like card games and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm wearing a JBL shirt that I got, and because you do a review for them, they send you a T-shirt. And that's it. I'm gonna keep the speakers, but I mean, I got the cool T-shirt. I did this review and I got a T-shirt. And the kid goes, "So do you have some JBL headphones?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "Your shirt says JBL. Do you have the headphones?" And I go, "Oh, no. Well, why do you have the shirt?" I said, "Because they make speakers." "They do? What kind of speakers?" "Like car speakers, like speakers for your car." Like, why would you? What do you? I mean, totally dumbfounded. And he's like 24, 25 years old. Not a clue. Like,
it makes sense because Amazon just pumps the ads for the JBL headphones.
Yeah, and it was like he had no clue whatsoever that they made anything other than headphones. And I was like, wow. I said, yeah, I gotta just reviewed a $5,000 set of speakers they make for a car. He's like, fuck, my car's not even worth $5,000. I was like, yeah, I know. Yeah, keep those headphones. Yeah. Yeah. So So, that was one of the, and there again, like kicker. I was talking with this guy from Indonesia. He was one of the managers. See, on his white suit, he was a 2-striper. For those of you guys that are boat people, I guess you might know what the stripes mean. I had to figure it out. I had to ask. So it's like 2 stripes, 3 stripes, and 4 stripes, depending on what you do in the world of. So a 2-stripe is basically like a manager. So he's in charge of a department, and then he has a 3-stripe above him, and then there's multiple 3 stripes. So it's like a Venn diagram of people, And at the top is a 4-stripe. So there's like 4 4-stripers on a boat. You have the main captain, and then 3 other captains, depending. Like you have the hotel captain, the that's in charge of the actual hotel. Then you have the food captain or food and beverage captain, and then you have the entertainment captain. So, but they don't call them captains; they're just 4-stripers, because you don't want to confuse it with the actual captain. Didn't know all this, learned all this. Talked to some dude from Indonesia. He filled me the fuck in, man. I trapped him for like 20 minutes, and he was like, "You should let him go back to work." And I said, "Listen, if I'm keeping you from doing work, by all means, go get your work done. Otherwise, I'm going to keep asking you questions because I haven't talked to anybody for like a week, and I need to know things."
Oh damn!
So he's like, "Yeah, if you're a white coat, you get your own room, and they clean it for you. They only give them 800 megabytes of data a week.
Wow,
that's it. That's all you get to call home, unless you're on shore and you have, but and like how long the contracts are for that they sign." And like we found out, like certain, like they're getting ready to move this ship to another country, to do like a Australia to Hawaii run, and only certain countries of employees can work on the ship. Like Australia has rules for who can be employed on the ship. I was like, no shit. I mean, it was crazy, but without being able to talk about car stereo, it was like, what's the next best thing? Let's talk about ship life.
You had to learn.
So any person that worked on the thing and I could put them in a corner, I was like, tell me about this job. tell me everything there is to know about this.
Yeah, you did that. I just hung out at the jacuzzi.
Yeah, I never went to jacuzzi. I was too enamored with staring outside of the boat. Probably doesn't know JBL has part of Harman. Oh, dude, you think they know what Harman International?
Yeah, they definitely don't know who Harman is.
Okay, so if you're going to say part of Harman International, then you have to go Harman International is part of Samsung. So, I mean, the reality is JBL is Samsung.
Right.
So, and then when you say that, their fucking minds explode. So, I have 2 0-gauge run to seatbelt bolts. I'm going to go with no.
Don't do it.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
It's really not what they're made for. I get it. It's a bolt. People are tempted to do it. There's better bolt. There's better ways to do it. Is it a ground? Sure. Is it the best ground? Not the safest way to run a ground. Let's just say that, because usually seatbelt bolts are not in the best places. And if that thing ever gets loose, it's usually around foam or cloth. And foam and cloth catch on fire. So, and trust me, I've pulled seats out in 911s where there's been nice burnt spots in the foam going, oh, well, that's cool. So as tempting as it is, find a better bolt. Usually if you pull the panels off, there's some kind of factory ground around where you're at, usually within, it's very rare. And if you're in a trunk of a car, there's usually a hole somewhere, that you can sand and put a bolt through. So there's lots of options.
You can find one if you look around.
Soon I see Samsung Car Audio. No, so we won't, because that's why they bought Harman, is so they don't have to label their stuff. So think of it like Eclipse. Fujitsu came out with Eclipse because no one would buy anything that says Fujitsu. Okay, because they make cash registers. So, we're not buying a Fujitsu radio. It doesn't sound good, but we'll, owning something with a name makes more sense.
Yeah.
So,
Samsung did make cameras. You remember that? Samsung made cameras. That was,
the thing was, and that was the thing. It's funny you say that, because like I'm sitting there watching all these old guys doing this crap, and I'm like, Samsung was just too early.
Yeah,
too early. because the technology wasn't ready for that. But you need a phone or something with a phone capability that you can download apps and do all this stuff, but with not like, if you take a sensor that's in a phone, like if you take one of these sensors, you can make a lens that's a lot smaller. Okay. The problem is that the lens, the amount of light you need to come through that lens, because the sensor is so small, is really the issue. That's why when you look at a DSLR and you go, wow, why is that lens so big? That's to get the optics on the front have to be big enough to get light through to the sensor in order to achieve what you're trying to do. So we're really close, I feel, to creating a big enough optics on the front and not having to go out too far to having something like a smartphone that is more, smaller sensors, shallower lens that has this on the back. Because we need, and there again, it's the other problem with it is expense, because you look at what this phone costs, which is like what, $1,500.
If you get the Pro Max, it is, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like $1,500.
Yeah.
And you're gonna still need this plus all the other crap. So you're talking about a $3,000 camera.
Yeah.
Easy. So that's
$1,500. It'll get you. I mean, now you get a Canon R8 around that price, but before then, you were looking at, you get an APS-C cameras or a Sony or a Canon.
Well, the M bodies are all pretty reasonable. I mean, you get M6, the Mac Daddy M6 for under $1,000. But my point is that you need the processor that is in this.
Yeah,
that's the money right there, because this display is where it's at. Because I'm sitting there, so it's like 11:30 at night, 11:30 midnight, and the sun is setting in the back of the boat, and the sun never not set on this particular day. Like, it just stayed half set. It was like, so like, you could literally sit there and like take a shot, turn around, talk to somebody, come back, take another shot. I mean, not that there was anyone to talk to, but yeah, it was incredible. But I'm taking shots with my camera and I'm using my phone too, and I'm like what? I mean, and it was funny because all the young white coats were up there and they're all taking pictures of themselves. There's like half a dozen white coats up there, and they're all like, and then one guy's sitting there with his phone using it as a modeling light, and the other ones are like taking pictures and shit. And I'm like, yeah, these guys got it wrong. They had it right, but the camera guys had it wrong. I was like, yeah, this is stupid. But yeah, and also the main thing was just most people just don't care. But but people will pay for what they think is important, because what this Disney cruise cost, the amount of people that were there. And so the other thing that I learned too is people are fucking nuts. Like, so when you roll through Disney, okay, like for example, we've had an annual pass for Disney for probably like 10 years. Okay. Nowhere on the pass does it say you've been a card member for 10 years. There's no like, hey, congratulations, stupid. You've paid lots of money every year so that you can come to our park whenever you want. They don't tell you that. Like, when you renew it every year, they say, oh, congratulations, this is your 10th year. The rate's gone up a lot. But on the cruise, they give you lanyards with placards, and those placards are colored depending on how many cruises you've been on.
Oh, so you got the junior one then.
So I got a card.
Yeah.
That was it. I didn't get shit. The girls, on the other hand, were getting lanyards, like they're silver. Sue will be gold on the next cruise because this was her gold cruise. So she'll have a gold placard. Haley have a silver placard because Haley is one down from Sue. Our buddy that we went with, she's platinum. And then there's opal, I think, or there's another one above it that's even like crazier. It's like 25 cruises. And it's like, so you're walking around and all these people are wearing these things like a badge of fucking honor. I, of course, have mine in my pocket because I hate placards to begin with. I hate lanyards and stuff. No. Like, this year at Knowledge Fest, my goal was to not wear it at all. And for the most part, I never did, because I just walked around and just angry. And there was one lady that tried to stop me, and I just looked here and said, no, I got shit to do. You shut up. Like, but no buts. And I just kept walking. I was like, come get me, bitch.
Try to catch me.
Try to catch me. Catch you outside. But the most people, this was like this is like multiple cruises. There's very few idiots like me walking around. I mean, they'd say, who's this their first cruise? And there'd be a couple, hey, and you're like, congratulations. But most people know this was not their first cruise. And there's these kids, little kids, like are all walking around with gold lanyards on. And you're going, Jesus Christ. You've been on like 6
flexing on you. It's flexing on you.
Oh, totally.
The lanyard out.
It was ridiculous. I can set time delay and all that stuff. I just hooked up the front speakers in parallel with 2 Silk Dome tweeters, JBL GTOs, and I have a set of CT Sound mezzos in the doors. Yeah, so set the time delay. If you have a tweeter and a mid-range on the same channel, use the mid bass as your delay point. And remember don't go to the grill, or if you go to the grill, try to figure out how many inches the cone, not the point of the cone. So like where the dust cap meets the magnet or the voice coil. I'm sorry, not the magnet, but the voice coil. So for example, if you're going to measure from here to the door and it's 30 inches, add another 3 inches. So make it 33 inches and then do the same on the other side. And then try to do that for the rear. If it's all 3 inches, meaning like if it's 30 inches to there and then 3 inches to the speaker, and you go to the back and it's, let's say 45 to that and then 3 inches to grill, then don't worry about it. If the gap is the same, because it's not going to matter, it's still gonna work. But yeah, use the mid bass. Now keep in mind that where a lot of people make the mistake on time delay is that they'll get it done and it'll still be off, meaning it'll still not be perfectly centered, and you'll be like, what the hell? And they'll want to adjust the time delay. And Andy said it the best. He's like, 2 feet is 2 feet, right? Like if I measure something with a ruler and it says it's 2 feet, is there any world where it's not going to be 2 feet? And it's like, no.
Oh, yeah.
Because the ruler doesn't lie. However, level, on the other hand, does. And that's the other part of, like, when we talk about DSP, we talk about independent level control, is because just because you delayed it out, you're still technically closer to that speaker. So you may need to turn it down. That's also why passive crossovers have tweeter attenuation that are independent. So sometimes when you're putting in passive crossovers, if this one over here isn't or is loud enough, but this one is just killing it, you can attenuate the tweeter down through the passive crossover. So like this one is at 0, you can move this one to -3, and that will help balance out the front stage. You're not losing anything. You're just helping to align it better, because this one is 12 inches away from you and that one's 4 feet. So if it's not centered properly, adjust the level for that channel and not the time delay. Once you've measured it and you have it all, that's a solid. So start measuring, start turning down volume.
Yeah, I won't say every time, but most times that I've set time alignment, I have to adjust levels afterwards.
Oh yeah, you always do. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like if you got like 3 or 4 inches to play with, that's a lot. It's okay. Like if you're like, oh, it's so close. Well, yeah, try adding just a little bit more delay, because your measurement might be off a tad. But if you're like having to add like another foot, no, you're doing something. It's level.
Unless you were on a JBL or a Dayton and you didn't go from the farthest speaker away and then do a bunch of math. Because you tried to do it the normal way with one of them, and you're like, what?
Yeah, that's what we call subtraction.
Yeah.
It's fun. I hate that.
Yeah.
Some DSPs are just that way, where you got to do math. That's how I'll always say, do we have to do math? Center, or left of center? I like to go a little left of center, because most people are going to sit in the car and they're going to lean.
Yeah.
So when they lean, that will put it back in center. So I try to get like, if it, where the dash rounds and this be like right through there, so that if I lean a little bit, it's centered, because no one drives like this.
Right. With their eyes closed. How you listen.
Right. I mean, I do, but Most people don't.
Have you done any installs in an A-class Mercedes?
An A-class?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
So check this out. Cassie got a new car.
Is it an A-class Mercedes?
It's an A-class Mercedes.
Okay.
But anyways, I get in there and I'm listening there like, oh, it sounds pretty good. And I'm listening to regular music at this point. I'm like, okay, let me play like a few tracks I know just so I can see. And I'm like, dude, center is driver's center.
It should be right above the gauge cluster.
And that's where it is, right there.
Yeah.
And I'm always center, so it's like just throwing me off.
German cars try to make a 2-seat tune, and for a 2-seat tune, it should be above the gauge cluster for the driver and above the airbag for the passenger.
Yeah.
So it should be right here is where the audio should be coming from.
And that's where it is coming from.
Yeah, that's by design.
Yeah.
We'll get back to this. Hold on. Someone's, hey Dean, is it possible for a single speaker in your car to just crap out? Yes, actually, it happens quite a bit. Either manufacturing, because nothing is perfect, bad channel on an amplifier. And what I mean by bad channel on an amplifier is not necessarily bad in the sense like, oh, it's broke. But if you've ever seen us do an amp downer before where we do a stereo amplifier, you'll see that they're never putting out the exact amount of power on both channels. Okay, so let's say this one's putting out 50 watts. This one could be putting out 65 watts. All right, now depending on what channel you set your gains with, because you can only use and now. Okay, so you might be getting a little bit more distortion out of one channel than the other. You could have water leaking, and there's a lot of things that can happen to cause a channel, one speaker to go bad. But yes, one speaker can go bad, and it happens all the time. I mean, it's when a speaker goes out, it's usually just one speaker doing it. And then there's all the tests to figure out, is it the speaker that's bad? Is it the amplifier that's bad? Is it the channel that's bad? It involves just a lot of switching channels, flipping left and right, RCA, then output, and then all that other stuff. But yeah, it's a
pain in the ass, especially if it's already installed. Like if you can, it's nice to take the equipment out of the vehicle, like an amp, and test it on a bench, and where you eliminate most of the factors.
Or you just have a really bitchin' set of tools where it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, see, like if you're a professional, obviously you're gonna be able to do all that stuff.
Yeah. Can I are a super tweeter with my 6.5 sound decent with the DSP? Man, super tweeter, man. That's funny. Yes, actually it can. The thing you have to keep in mind about a super tweeter is that the efficiency of a super tweeter is usually a lot greater than the mid-range. So most mid-range, even like the closed backs, the open backs, all that, usually they're somewhere between like 93 and 96, maybe 97 dBs of efficiency, whereas a super tweeter is usually between 103 and 107. All right, so if you play by the math where 3 dB is a noticeable difference in sound, reality is like it's supposed to be double. It's not. Our ears don't perceive it that way. Really, it takes about 9 dB for it to be double the volume. So if you have something that is at, let's say, 95 and then something that is at 105, that's 10 dB. So that's definitely, that tweeter is playing at like your ear is going to perceive that as twice as loud. It's like having 4 tweeters compared to 1 mid-range. So the first thing you have to do to get a super tweeter is back it the fuck down. Okay. So if you back it down, what you'll actually, meaning turn the level down, is what you'll find out is that super tweeter all of a sudden becomes almost like a wideband, because it can play a pretty broad amount of sound because of the horn that's on it.
Right. So, it's got better dispersion than an average tweeter.
Yeah. So yes, in some cases, if properly done, you can make a super tweeter sound not bad. Not great, but not bad for the amount of money that you usually have invested in them. There's been every now and then we'll get a car that's what they want to do, and we'll combine it with like Hertz makes the SPL shows.
Yeah,
and that's kind of our go-to. Like if someone's like, I want loudspeakers, it's like, all right, well, you need the Hertz SPL shows. That's kind of what we stock for that customer. I mean, don't get me wrong, we stock all this other stuff, and I use stuff. Yeah, but I won't use it in one of our installs because I don't like it. So that's kind of our go-to. and we'll match that up with one of their high frequency mid range, or we'll do some ground zero. They make some really loud stuff too. Like they make some obscenely loud. We're kind of switching from that to the ground zero stuff because that has way louder. Like just
Wow,
they're just so stupid. Their greenbacks and redbacks are just insane.
I've done I moved from the Hertz Deci in the rear of the Trooper, which I hated.
Yeah.
And I went up to the Centos, 5.25, and actually I like those a lot better.
Well, the thing about the DJs or whatever the Italian is, they're 3-ohm speakers, and that tweeter is super, super bright because it's so small. It's just so they're not what they're made for is if you have shitty factory speakers and you just want to make it sound better, and by not doing anything else. Like the problem is that cars these days aren't basic anymore. Even the basic stereos aren't basic.
Right.
So it's like, oh, I just want as a basic upgrade. And you're like, there's no such thing as a basic upgrade, dude. Like it's not the 80s or the 90s where it's like you roll in with a Toyota Camry with 4 speakers and it's like, I just want it to sound better and we can drop 4 speakers in it and it sounds better. Those days are few and far between. Like it just doesn't happen as much.
Deck and 4 is already in the car. Actually, better than Deck and 4 usually.
Usually better than Deck 4. I got a guy at the Camry come in today, and we were talking, and he's like, "Yeah, I just got this 2023 Camry. I really want to keep the radio. It's got heads-up display." And I goes, "Have JBL?" He goes, "Has JBL." I said, "All right, we can work with that." He goes, "What am I looking at?" And I'm like, "Listen, the reality is so." A good friend of mine, was talking to me about he's a sales pro, and what I mean by that is he won the award and makes him a sales pro, and we were talking, and he works at Titan. His name is Dan, and he was like, so I break things down to make it easier to understand. So when someone comes to me and says, I want to put a stereo in my car, I say, okay, what are we trying to do? Do you want to are you trying to do audio, like make it sound good, or what, and what because there's multiple things. Like whether you can replace the radio or not, that's a technology upgrade. Okay. So whether it's an interface or a new radio, that's a technology upgrade. That has nothing to do with the way the car is going to sound, in the sense that the speakers and amps are the audio upgrade. Anything done in the dash is a technology upgrade. So, it's going to cost you just to do a technology upgrade, whether you're doing a DSP or radio, any type of device, that's going to be an easy $1,000.
Right.
Between if you're having someone else do it, it could be more than that, like a minimum of $1,000. Because like if you replace a radio between the smart harness you need, the dash kit, and the radio, that's if you're going to do it yourself, it's $1,000. If you're going to buy a basic DSP with all the T harnesses and everything, that's $1,000. So a technology upgrade is going to be $1,000 or more. And then from there, it's like, all right, now we can talk about audio, but we can't do one without the other. It's a different way of thinking about it. But this guy with this, and I was like, let's practice. And so I was like, reality is the whole package is going to be, believe it or not, sadly, with the way the economy is just screwed up everything, and with, import taxes or whatever the hell they're calling it, where it's like, oh, you're bringing that in from China, it's going to cost you this much more. And manufacturers are starting to switch. Like they're trying to get things made in Taiwan or places where you're not having to pay all this extra on top of it, but it's going to take time. And God forbid it's never going to be made here in the US. So, which sucks, but I get it. So, whereas before COVID and previous presidents, we probably could sell you a really nice system for $3,500. That was about the base system price. It's $5,500 to $6,500 now.
Yeah.
That is a basic system. Hey, Dean, the XR 901.5 worth upgrading from the XR 802.5. More power for the sub and a little bit more power for the mids and highs. Yes, I would do it, but they're both really nice amplifiers. What you may want to do instead of doing that upgrade is take the 802.5 and bridge it, make it a 3-channel amp, and then they make what, like the XR 404 or something like that, which is just a really simple 4-channel, and do the same thing, bridge that into a 2-channel, and you'll actually have more power than both of the amplifiers. So if you need more sub power, then the 901.5 is definitely going to give you more bass, because it's that the subsection of that can do like 800 watts. We dynoed it. But a lot of the times we'll actually take the 901.5 and bridge it, or run active, because you can do that too. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
You got some options with it. I would say most people, for their basic, I would say there's probably a group of people that just, if you add a sub to their factory system, that's what some of them are missing.
So, but that used to be the case.
Yeah.
That used to be the case, but not anymore. Not anymore. People aren't, because the headphone world is taking over, and headphones don't have bass.
Yeah.
So the bass request isn't as much as it used to be. Like, that's straight up early. That's like, no, it's weird, because like I get more younger people coming in going, no, I don't want a lot of bass. They're like, what do you mean you don't want a lot of bass? Like 212s with 1,000-watt amp used to be it, man. Like,
yeah.
we could turn those things out.
Yeah.
Now it's like, no. The mids and highs suck, and you're like, okay. But no, it's weird. Like, the basic sub install is not the thing.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still a certain, like, we still sell a lot of Rockford P300s, and the new downfiring kicker thing. I'm just chomping at the bit to sell, but it's like, yeah, it's weird. Like, subwoofers are not the thing, man. People want their mids and highs to just blast them out of the car. And I don't mean like loudspeaker blast them out of the car. They want them to be loud like their headphones, because they put these little things in their ear, and it's like, it's all mid-rangey and treble, and there's very little bass. So that's what they've equated to sounds good. So yeah, it's very odd. You always want more. Yeah. The biggest thing we have to overcome in cars nowadays is what the factory audio system is doing. Like, if you got a Bronco and it's non BO, it's gonna sound like shit no matter what you do. Like, that radio sucks. And honestly, in aftermarket, we're having such a hard time trying to get it to not sound like shit, because the loads that it needs, the way that the amplifier is looking at the speakers, there's all this dumb shit going on that's just making it really hard to integrate into that. And it sucks. It's no fun.
Does it have the down-fine speakers like Jeeps too?
No, it's got even shittier. It's got 6.5s in the kick panels, and then 4-inch in the dash, firing straight up, and it just sounds so shitty. I mean, it's funny, anytime we interview Sage about the Moscone or the Focal Orca Bronco that they have, he's just like, will you sell this fucking car, please? Can we get a real car and we can put a stereo in? Like, this thing sucks.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna buy a Bronco, make sure it has the BO system, because we could throw an Amp Pro in there and life is great. Other than that, it's gonna suck.
Sorry for you. You're gonna have to put some power speakers in, like a Jeep.
Well, so the problem is, it's not even that. It's just integrating into the factory radio.
That's what I'm saying. Just run them separate Bluetooth ones.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's what we do in the Bronco. That's what we do in the Orca Bronco. It runs off the Bluetooth. They have the AMAS. The AMAS 96.
Yeah,
which is like the $350 Bluetooth module, and that's how they run it. With the Gladen amps, there's all this neat shit you can do between pairing to the radio and pairing to that, and then you run a test tone through the and then you can work the volume. It's really weird how they do it, but okay, sounds good. If I ever need that, I'm calling you, because I'm not going to remember any of this. So,
yeah.
The CX 800.1 and a 10-inch comp art box in my brother's car kind of surprised me. Why? That's a lot of power. I mean, that's a lot of power. Comp R is a really nice driver. My biggest complaint with Kicker, and I wish they would fix this, is that they need a better grill.
Oh, I agree. Yeah.
They need a mesh grill that goes over the front of the driver, because that 1980s spoked rim that they have doesn't work for most people. You know, when audio control, of course, as we all know, just came out with their new woofers. They came out with that mesh grill because they've heard me bitch about it enough that it was like, we're going to put a mesh grill in there. For one, they know it looks better. Two, it's safer. And that's what people want. People want, it's like, dude, the only woofers we ever get back that are fucked up are kickers. So it's like, I can't, I want to sell them because they sound amazing, but it's like, hey, you pop the trunk out, hey, could you come look at my trunk so I can see what we're going to put in here? And you open the trunk and there's dead bodies and all this shit in the trunk. And you're like, we're going to need something with a grill. And I mean a real grill, not this, thing.
Yeah, around the edges.
Yeah, grill for Street Series. The Q Series had a nice grill. The Q Series had a nice grill, but they don't make it anymore because it was too expensive because they overthought the damn thing. Everyone's grill is cheap. Like Rockford designed their speaker, you buy a piece of metal. Alpine, you buy a piece of metal. JL, you buy a piece of metal. It's just you're buying just a shitty metal piece. Like they've designed their woofer so the grills are cheap. Kicker can't do that. Come on.
I know. I've had to with their grill for a while too. It's the old.
It's stupid. I don't understand why they haven't figured it out yet. I mean, I get like when you came out with the classic woofer, cool. It's classic kicker. It's that. I get it, but
how long have the grills been like that? I remember from like the early 2000s.
Yeah, they look like my son's grills on Power Wheels. They do. The thing is that if we bitch about it enough, and if all of you guys next time you're on Kicker, like when you do the Kicker thing on Tuesday, if y'all bitch about the grill, like nonstop, just like in the comments, they just still bitch about the grill the whole time. And they'll be like, oh crap. For one, they'll be like, oh my God, people are talking about our products. That'll freak them out in the first place. But if you all bitch about the grill, then they might actually change it because they hate it. Trust me, I know. When people complain about their stuff.
Dude, it's still like, it reminds me of like tribal tattoos. It reminds me of the 90s. Tribal tattoos, extreme sports. Like Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. The dude's like, extreme.
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
But see, the thing is, it doesn't make them look cool anymore. They don't look aggressive. People don't want that look. That look is gone, man. People want the shit to look factory or they want it to be functional.
That's back when Audioboom had flames on their amps and it was like,
yeah. I mean, it was cool. Don't get me wrong. But if I need the crawl throwing star for a speaker grill, no. Everyone's gone to mesh. We've all gone to mesh. We started with 2 bars, and the 80s are over, so we need a mesh grill for them. And for one, I can sell more then. Honestly, when I sell a product, it has to fit the problem that is being asked. I want to put bass in my car. Cool. What do you do in your car? Explain to me how you live with this subwoofer in your car. Oh, I'm going to put all my laundry in the trunk. Okay. Fine. Oh, I don't put anything in my trunk. Let's go out to your car and look. Sure enough, there's nothing in the trunk. Cool. We can do kickers.
Yeah.
I would much rather do those. Because the box is smaller, it's compact and fits in, so it's beautiful. They do such a nice job on their enclosures. They're sexy as hell. But it's like, I live out of my trunk. Okay, well, we're not going to do these because,
just get those flea market ones and put over them. You know what I'm talking about?
If I'm going to do that, I'll just put the 5 spokes on there or 6 spokes, and all the you'll get in and there'll be a golf club poked through this. You're just like, what the heck? Yeah, hex pattern tribal tattoos of the 2020s.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I called Kicker Store and told them to make me some grills.
All right.
It's not that easy,
Andy. It's a song. Can't remember who sings it, but
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say there was a lot wrong with Audioboom. Yeah,
definitely
in the end. But
they were the John DeLorean of car audio. Who knew?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Speaking of movies, up next we're gonna have whatever we call that. Side jag. So,
yeah.
Which this whole show has been. So thank you guys for hanging out. I mean, this has just been like Dean's Vacation recap with a little bit of car stereo in there because I've missed it so much. I did have a guy today that asked me the different what I thought about batteries. So he was talking about the two types of batteries that we all use right now. So you have your cell AGM versus
flooded.
Well, no, AGM versus the new stuff.
Jeez. Oh, lithium, like a LTO
Thank you.
or Life PO4.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, the guy you need to ask is you. It's like you need to ask Hi-Fi these questions. I don't have the answers. I'm not, they're all batteries to me.
Matter of fact, my next video I'm working on is a battery comparison. So I'm doing a lithium, a DIY lithium, a pre-built, and then a flooded battery. So
nice.
I'll edit it at some point.
So when we were at Knowledge Fest, Metra has their lithium batteries now, and they have this little tiny lithium battery that's like this big. It's so freaking cute, and I'm like, okay,
I've got 2 of the little JY Power hybrid lithium capacitors.
Yeah,
those things are freaking dope, man. They're about this big, and they're pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing is that most of these cars are getting better, or most of these amplifiers are becoming more efficient.
Right.
But I feel like now with hybrids, we're going to have to go back to adding batteries because most of these hybrids don't actually have batteries.
Yeah.
They have cells and then they have tap-off points. So we're going to be having to add batteries into these cars. So lithium is definitely going to become a more common thing in the future.
Right.
And the fact that we can make them smaller is even better.
Yeah, and if you have a Prius, they don't even have an alternator. It's a generator.
No. Yeah.
So,
but they do have a battery though.
Yeah. They actually do have a starting battery.
The Priuses actually do pretty well with the system.
Yeah.
Like we've never had issues with Priuses, but like now you have like the Kias that they don't have a battery. It's just a step down thing. And it's like, oh, well, that sucks. And the Teslas are sucking just as bad. So it's like, yeah. And it's funny too. That was the other funny thing. Like in Seattle, everyone was driving a hybrid, which is to be expected, right? You look around, people hate hybrids. Like Florida, people are like, fuck hybrids, man. They suck. See, they got, gas cars. You're like, oh, okay. But over there, it's like everyone has a hybrid.
I feel like hybrids are the perfect compromise between full electric and gas. Like
I feel they are too.
Yeah, I mean they have problems, but I mean, all cars have some problems.
But I mean that's what. So you're either driving a Tesla, like there's tons of people driving Teslas here because they're all like annoying, and they all like, oh, I have a Tesla. It's like, oh, okay, well I'll see you on the side of the road. It'll never happen. All right, I'll see you behind Wawa's. How's that?
Exactly.
And our Wawa's has a Chick-fil-A in the parking lot. So it's like the best of both worlds because you can plug in your car at Wawa's to charge it and then walk over to Chick-fil-A and get your dinner.
There you go. That's perfect combo.
Yeah.
Oh, well. We really considered a used Tesla, but we couldn't do it. Too many road trips.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I could do it with if my Mustang was a hybrid, I'd be fine because it doesn't go anywhere. But I'm not buying unless they make a convertible cool hybrid Mustang. I'm not, or some car like that. I'm not buying a hybrid. Like, Fran was like, "Ooh, look at the Tesla, it looks so badass." I said, "No, it looks like shit. You can't do anything in that car to make it look cool." It's like, "That one looks awesome." I'm like, "It's a wrapped bubble."
Yeah,
it's fucking stupid.
The Ys are probably the worst. I like the 3s. I like the way those look, but it is a bubble. But the Ys are really a bubble.
I'm sorry, I can't get behind a wannabe Toyota Camry. Just no. Doesn't do anything.
Dude, have you seen the new Priuses? They look pretty cool.
You're gay. No. It's not cool. Hybrid Mustang, blasphemy. Well, they have that stupid SUV hybrid Mustang.
It's not even a hybrid. It's full electric.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid car. So stupid. It's like, come on, guys. Really? You're going to call that a Mustang? You guys suck.
I did see a meme on Facebook where it said, you can make all the noise you want, but you're still slower than this Tesla.
Yeah. Well, no, and there again, I don't drive fast, so I don't really care.
No. I'm just talking about all the that's a good shot across the bow for all the enthusiasts.
Yeah, my tires were out too fast. Yeah, there you go. See, what cells are in a Tesla? I think they're all lithium.
They make their own cells.
Yeah,
Gigafactory. I don't know what type they are though.
Well, that was the thing I was talking to Brian, because Brian's Cadillac is electric. You know, it's a hybrid.
Yeah,
and you can't buy the battery anymore.
Oh no.
So what another a used battery, and then take it all apart and pull out the cells that are still good.
That's the same way they do in the Prius.
Yeah, it's like, that sounds like fun. Guess what I'll never have to do in my car?
Right.
That.
Yeah.
Oh man, we can't drive the car for the next month and a half. I have to find a battery to rebuild. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a different time, man. I'm holding on to them. I'm holding on to my ICE vehicle as long as I can.
Yeah.
But I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to either.
I don't care one way or the other. Like I said, when I had the Camaro, I was like, if they come out with a hybrid Camaro, even if they came out with a full electric Camaro, I would buy it.
Yeah.
I like this car. I don't care. I don't care what I have to do. I don't drive enough to where it's going to matter. Like, it drives like not even 20 miles a week. So like, I don't give a shit. Cool. I'll plug it in.
I think it all comes down to me is like dollars and cents. Like, how much I'm not going to pay more for it.
No.
So we can get that off the table. Like, if it's more, no.
Yeah.
When it comes down to the price point where it's comparable, okay. Now it's a concern.
Not only that, you have to put a charge point in your house.
Right.
So I don't know. I've done no research on this, so I could be blowing smoke out of my own ass. I don't know. But I do know that that's the end of the show. So thank you guys for playing along. I like a V8. Yeah, you can buy it in a bottle. Tastes like shit though. Thanks guys for playing along with us. Make sure to join us on the next show, which is Side Jag, where I'm sure we're going to talk about movies and food. Oh, I got so much food talk.
Yeah, cruise food.
So we'll see you guys next week. We'll be here next week. We'll talk more car stereo instead of just at the end. You guys have a great day.
Let's see you. Well, I got to double click the button.
Yep.
If it quits freezing up. All right, there we go.